We love because he first loved us. 1 John 4:19. Now, I was listening to a really old song. Maybe you're familiar with it. You probably aren't, if you aren't, one, old enough, and two, weren't listening to Christian music in the 80s, 90s. From Michael W. Smith's Change Your World album, he did a song called Give It Away. It's very telling, it's very touching, and I think we can all learn from this song because he's talking about relationships, a father and a son, and some other examples in there as well. But then near the end, well, before we get to the end, the running sort of part of the chorus as he's singing is that love isn't love until you give it away. And then he also ends up saying somewhere near the middle, we can entertain compassion to a world in need of care, but the road of good intentions doesn't lead to anywhere. And I think what he might be singing about there is, even back then, ever since the creation of the television, we turn on the tube and we're watching Three's Company or watching Alf or watching Eight is Enough or cartoon shows or whatever. Especially, it was really worse in the afternoons when they would, come home from school and watch cartoons. They would show this stuff on there too. Entertaining compassion. The celebrity would come on, Suzanne Summers or whoever, and look at the poor puppies. We need your money so we can save the puppies. Well, they weren't being very genuine. They're entertainers trying to use compassion as a weapon to get your money. The traditional snake oil salesman from like 150 years ago. And I feel like that's what the climate people are doing, the same thing. So hopefully I won't get flagged for that because I just said climate. But anyway, but the crux of this song, Give It Away, is that near the end of the song, he finally mentions a river, that love is like a river, in that we drink from the giver of life. This may not be verbatim here of the song, that we drink from the river of life and our thirst is quenched, or something along those lines. I didn't get those to memory, so I'm doing a lot of back and forth here because I don't have anything written down, so I apologize. And what he's setting up is the giver. Who is the giver of life? Christ. Eat of my body and drink of me. When he mentioned this to his apostles are like, whoa, we're not a part of this. We're about to leave. They all, get up from the table. And Jesus is like, whoa, wait a minute. You're taking this too literally. Let me really explain myself. And they came back and followed him. So Michael W. Smith has established here about our relationships and how we need to show emotion and tell our loved ones we love them, basically. But he goes even more than that. So now he's established the river and the giver of life, that the river is flowing from the giver of life, and that we can drink from him and our thirst be quenched only from the giver of life. But then he goes beyond that there was once a man who walked on water, who walked on the giver of life. He came to set the people free. He was the ultimate example of what love can truly be. So, what is love? And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. The greatest of these is love. 1 Corinthians 13:13. So, to define love, we have to know what it is and what it isn't. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It does not keep a record of wrongs. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-5. So the Bible has helped to establish love comes from God. We know what love is and what love isn't. And Michael W. Smith, in this song, Give It Away, has loosely mentioned this. But he's also trying to explain the action of love. Okay? So, in this song, this is very meaty, because he's already established our social interactions with each other, how we don't communicate as well as we should. He's established God is the giver of life. God is where the water comes from that we need to be drinking from, who is also the Son of God, the Son of Man, Jesus Christ, our Savior. And then that not only is he the giver of life, the giver of the water of life, he can walk on the water. He walked on the water. And he came to set us free. Not just the Jews, but everyone. We can't forget that he was Jewish. He was the ultimate example of what love can truly be, because his love was his life, and he gave it away. Michael W. Smith doesn't stop there. Okay? So, let's look at the last little bit of lyrics here. But first, let's also mention how he just explained in like 2 stanzas the 3 years of Christ and what he did for us, his death and why he died for us. Because, what did we just say? 1 Corinthians 13:13. The greatest of faith, hope, and love is love. We understand love comes from God first, so we can love each other. But still, what is love? We understand it's patient and kind and doesn't boast and isn't proud and doesn't keep records of wrongdoings and everything. It doesn't have a chip on its shoulder. You know, people with chips on their shoulder that just won't let things go. You know, by accident, even Disney with Frozen, which was huge. The main song was Let It Go. Let it go. Let those chips off your shoulders go. I had a chip on my shoulder about a friend who I actually hit. Well, no, I didn't hit. He hit me. He was wanting me to hit back, and I walked away, and still we both got in trouble. And I remember I got in trouble, and I had to stay after school. And for years, I had that chip on my shoulder about that guy, about our argument and what he did to me, and he was a big Transformer fan just like I was. And we had our disagreement, and I didn't let that go for the longest time. Until about 10-15 years ago, I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I just need to let it go, and forgiveness. That's another crux, a main focus point socially for us. How to unlock the chains of the chips of hatred on our shoulders. But we're not finished with Give It Away. So some of the last lyrics of the song are very repetitive. And he's telling us, may we learn to give. May we learn to sacrifice. And he just, a couple of stanzas, verses ago, explained to us what Jesus did for us. That his love was his life. And he loved us. He gave it away. He is the ultimate example of what love can truly be. This is strong. This is so strong, it should wake the prideful up. But they're so blind with coal in their eyes or logs in their eyes, they can't see the forest for the trees. So they don't know they're in the wrong. The Lord understands this and is trying to help us reach them with the truth, but they don't want to hear it. Love is not proud. It does not boast. It doesn't envy. It's patient and kind. You can have hope, faith, and love, but the greatest of these is love. And here in this simple yet beautiful little song with Michael W. Smith's voice, which I love his music, but after a couple of songs, I can't take his voice from the 80s and 90s too much. His voice has changed a little bit since then. But this is so important. This is so important. He nails it in. That this man who loved us, who is the son of the Creator who created us, who loved us first so we can love one another. And it's not love is love. That's sex. That is the worldly version of love, which is sex. Okay? You got to get your head out of your pants. Your mind out from down below. We have to think spiritually, which means, and I've had to do this too, sacrifice your wants, sacrifice your passions for your family, for those you love. I had to sacrifice some of my attractions to settle down and get married and have a real family, because I wanted a son. I wanted a family very much. I love my daughter and my son more than they'll ever know. Ever know. They're teenagers right now. They don't think I have much to do with them, but they don't have much to do with me either. And sometimes I just let things go a little too much. But there was a part of myself that I knew was wrong. And I let it go. And Lord knew the stirrings of my heart, knew my sins. And he's like, here's this girl from his past who loves him, who's trying to reach him. Let's let her reach the right person to make this connection. He moved her along to find me when I was at my lowest point. God can create miracles. I had so much radiation done on me in the 1979, 1983. I didn't think I could even have kids because of hip operations and getting my hip x-rayed over and over and over again. I've got 2 beautiful kids. My parents knew this because the doctor told them, you may not be able to have kids after this because of all the radiation. We've been aiming in this area so we can get good x-rays of his hip, which is deteriorated, and he's not even hit puberty yet. Yeah. But miracles happened. Someone came into my life. We dated years. We finally married. We had kids. And I didn't think could happen. Here I am. And I'm stuck with a lot of junk and a lot of toys. And I have given a lot of stuff away. But let me tell you a story about my dad. Now, the Give It Away song by Michael W. Smith is about sons and fathers. But it's our spiritual father and his spiritual son in the physical Jesus that he's really singing about. But my parents had fun at a very young age. My dad had this, I don't want to get the name of the guitar wrong, but he had a cherry red electric guitar that he just enjoyed. He loved it. And he was in college. He got his girlfriend pregnant at the time, who I think was still in high school back in the 60s. And that's when my brother was born. And in order to pay for the delivery, he had to sell that guitar. He didn't want to. And I guarantee you anything, knowing my grandparents, they're like, we're not paying for this. This is your mistake. You're going to own up to it. You're going to be responsible. There is no pill. There is no this. There is no clinic. You're not doing squat. You are going to own up to this. And this is something a lot of people of today, a lot of kids of today are not getting. Oh, just take that pill. It'll go away. Oh, do this. It'll go away. Oh, you don't want that baby. Oh, no, we can take care of that. Instead of owning up to responsibility and knowing that life is life. It came into this world in a certain way, which is very specific, and was God sent. What you do with that life shows your heart and soul to everyone else on how you consider your own life, how important your life is if you don't own up to your own mistakes and you just want to sweep them under the rug. But didn't mean to get that deep into this. Let's get back to Give It Away, because he gave his life. He gave it away. In the last part of the song, he's singing that we need to learn to love. We need to learn to give it away. We need to learn to sacrifice. And maybe I haven't fully sacrificed everything I need to give up yet to truly give to my family, give to my kids. I'm talking to myself here. It should be resonating with you too. This hits hard. This hits very close to the target, very close to home for all of us. So while his love was his life and he gave it away for us, moving as we live, moving side by side, we need to learn to give it away. We need to learn to sacrifice. And if that means sacrificing up your TikTok videos with you dressed up ridiculously, trying to get as much attention as possible, give it up. Give it up. If you need to give up your junk to be able to have a family, and give up all these shelves of toys, they're not figures, they're not collectibles, they're toys. Nobody's going to like that. That is a part of maturity, of leaving your past behind, leaving kid things behind. Maybe keep a few items that you maybe just can't get rid of yet. That's fine. But if you want a family, you want to get married, you want a woman into your life, she is not going to move into your home if it looks like a retail store of toys still in their boxes all over the place. So while us guys can be very overly logical, very illogical, yet some mostly pragmatic, women are more keen to having reason, being reasonable. Be sometimes, maybe not all the time, because we're all about the same. What they want to buy and collect, where they want to invest their money, is different than ours. Theirs is more of somewhat organizational in appearances and keeping up appearances, so to speak, as opposed to us just kind of wanting to hoard. Because my grandfather was a hoarder too. And anybody can really be a hoarder. No matter what you are, who you are. But that's something we have to work on. But as Michael W. Smith so gracefully saying, we need to learn to give it away. We need to learn to sacrifice. If he can sacrifice his life to wipe out our sins with his blood, to save every one of us, whether you believe it or not, you can give up that junk. You can give up that whatever. And yeah, I'm still going to do my card stuff for what it is here. It's really winding down. But that's something to think about. I think this is going to hit hard for everybody. And so we know the rain's getting worse. I got to go in. And so we know the love that God has for us, and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, lives with God, and God in them. Emmanuel, God with us. 1 John 4:16, I believe. So we're going to wrap that up right here. Because knowing how to sacrifice, what to sacrifice, and knowing that you can love somebody for a reason, and knowing where love first came from and why we love in the first place, and having a desire to be with somebody and help them, and not only just having a family, but living through the good times and the bad times. As a man married of, golly, going on 23, 24 years now. I'm being vague on purpose. You're going to have some tough times. You might try to walk out that door. She might try to walk out on you, etc. Things can happen. But it's going to take God and faith and real love to be in your relationship, and sacrificing parts of yourself to be one person and to be beautiful in the eyes of God. So with that, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I know this was a lot to unpack. And all we were doing was going over an old Michael W. Smith song called Give It Away. Learning to give it away, learning to give, and learning to sacrifice. We'll see you next time. If you can hear me, praise be to God. Thanks be to the reading of His Word today. Have a blessed one.